Against all the sushi that chefs can conjure, all the wicked fish that the ocean can produce, we will send unto them only you. Breach and munch until it is chum.
Oh my god, there's like sushi chefs and shit running around yelling about shark fin soup. Oh god, they're dredging the Marianas Trench!
Overfishing destroying the pet population far better than spaying or neutering. I must agree, as we concur, that it would appear as though the grand sum of all of our shark fears has indeed come to fruition. And we are left with
Jesus fucking Christ with this guy, it's giving me a goddamn migraine. Hey, you do know the microphone is on, right?
Do I sound like I give a fuck right now?
Shark population has dropped below 12%.
This morning, President Dr. Luther Paradigm declared a lift on all endangered species protection on water-based life.
Hey man, I think this quarantine's getting to your head.
What do you mean? Fella, take a look at yourself. We're all in your head. What? Guys, I'm fine. I'm just making something fun for the start of the game's intro. It's all. It's me. It's me, the shark god. Everything's... Uh-oh. I've waited 4 fucking years to stick my size 69s up Samuel Hayden's robot cloaca. We were left on a pretty nasty cliffhanger with Doom 4, but with there being no follow-up DLC or anything like that. So what the fuck happened? Where did Samuel Hayden send the Doom guy? How does he get back to Earth? How does he get that kick-ass literal fortress of Doom? What did he have to do to survive? Was it like a prison special on HBO? Was it like a prison special on Cinemax? Was it like a prison special in Watchmen? There's so much they left us waiting on, and I'm just so fucking ecstatic that we're finally here. And they can answer all the fucking questions that address all the concerns. Right? This is Doom Eternal. I'm guessing you figured it out by now. Absolutely nothing the last game left on is answered, addressed, or even acknowledged. Playing the games back to back will have you go from being betrayed by Sammy Haydengar to having a kick-awesome space palace and Earth is fucked. Again. And none of it will be addressed. Nothing. It's confirmed in this game that it is in fact Doom Guy, and that 2016's title was in fact a direct sequel to Doom 64, henceforth referred to as the real Doom 3.
Oh, really?
And absolutely none of what I just said is of any consequence whatsoever, as the game's plot entirely retreads the entirety of Doom 2. And none of that is really acknowledged. They pretend to, but the story is a bloated, nonsensical mess that if you care about, even if there's no known measurement for how little you actually cared about, you've officially cared more than the devs did. And that's okay. You can have nonsense stories that just do whatever is convenient, you know, as long as it's not played straight and constantly thrown into your face bringing the game to a grinding fucking halt to make you look at it. Yeah, if I'm not supposed to care, stop forcing me to look at it. Stop filling your game with a fucking novel. Stop it! Luckily, you can skip it all, and really, aside from the goofy cutscenes, the game will be best enjoyed skipping all of the story stuff, which brings me back to a bit of a complaint I had with Mario Odyssey's 800 plus moons. It's bloat! It's bloat that has bare minimum effort put in, it's bloat that could have been dropped to add more gameplay content, and fuck you for that. So with that out of the way, and us not having to worry about the story at all, because as we've established, fuck the story, fuck you for it, we can actually move on to the fun stuff. This is the audio log of Dr. Hieronymus Q. Wilson, dated, I'm gonna be honest, I'm too high to remember what day of the week it is. But this is data entry number 1 on the supposed shark god. You guys are fucking pulling my leg, right? Like, I get it. I may smoke a little too much pot on the job sometimes, but you realize it's just some fat sack of shit with some giant retarded leather and fuck off spikes in what I think is a felt shark hat. You can see his face through the mesh, guys. Seriously. Doom 4 was a highly focused game. Levels were mostly dead simple, and everything was refined down to a very strict experience. Despite the wild nature of the game, it was a pretty tame and reserved experience overall. And I say this in comparison only, because if the previous title was on any level focused and deliberate, Doom Eternal is a monument to excess that throws everything at the wall and expects literally all of it to stick, and doesn't care if anything comes rolling down. And for the most part, it does. The drawback it has, of course, is that it becomes a lot more arcadey feeling. Chainsawing enemies no longer just makes them drop ammo, different ammo types now have bright neon color identification. One-ups hang in the air with the bright green glow, some halls are filled with fireballs spewing walls? Purple goop that makes it so you slow way the hell down and can't jump or dash shows up 3 or 4 times and only once presents you with a challenge? Super Mario style platforming complete with fire bars? Shadow Warrior's dash? It's kind of jarring. One of my biggest concerns during the lead up was that it was really just Shadow Warrior with a Doom mod attached. And while it's not entirely an inaccurate description, it's also not entirely fair either. But the overall point is that it's a very different beast. Platforming capabilities and assisting terrain have been expanded and not just for combat. A couple new obstacles and tricks have been added to make simply exploring the levels much more entertaining, from climbing walls to dash combos all the way to fucking yeeting yourself with the meat hook. A fuckload of effort was put into making even the downtime in the game far more engaging, and I appreciate the ever-loving fuck out of it. It gets really samey jumping between walls, but they at least had the foresight to make it more difficult as you go, even if really you're just doing the same jump trick, just having to do it over a longer distance. With the enhanced exploration comes a massive uptick in the number of secrets to find. More toys and not just palette swapped Marines this time. Soundtrack art, the fucking endless story bullshit. Discs to play Doom 1 and 2 on a computer in a game. On your computer. In the Matrix. In reality. And cheats! Yes, this game has cheats! And weirdly enough, they let you keep your progress when using them, and you just don't get to do the Doom Gates or whatever the fuck they're called. It was either Doom Gates or Slayer Gates. It's dumb, so I forget. Moving on. And yeah, that's pretty dope. Plenty of shit to unlock, plenty of secret shit, including 2 to 3 secret timed combats per level. These little gore nests give you a short challenge to complete and a time frame to do it in. The first is just 2 cacodemon that spawn way the fuck far away, but they evolve later to 2 pain elementals, to a Pinky who is buffed to hell, a snake monster, a couple zombros, and a mini-boss, or one in the earlier levels, which is just like 4 or 5 lost souls. They're interesting little fights that test your knowledge of the game's weapons and combat mechanics, which is an absolutely perfect segue! This is the log of Dr. Hieronymus Q. Wilson, stardate 7.3129-84. Our research into the shark god has been quite illuminating. I'm not really sure what the helmet itself is made out of, but I'm pretty sure that those teeth are just made of construction felt. And yet, for absolutely no reason, entirely unprovoked, and I'm sure just because he's an asshole, he bit a Mack truck in half. Then he flexed his muscles, which, being that he's kind of a husky fellow, looked kind of silly. I'm really not sure why you got... Who's that? Do you guys see that? Those 4 other little sharks? Where'd they come from? The game's combat is far more refined, and not just they hammered out this issue, they improved or nerfed that. No siree, his name is Bob, he here for fun. This game is tactical. It's so tactical that it forces you to learn how to play better. See those kick-ass videos where dudes are regularly swapping guns and looking all John Wick? You're going to have to learn to do all that if you want to complete this game even on Hurt Me Plenty. Yeah, this game is hard, and I'm going to say it, that alone makes it closer to the original 2 Dooms than previous games. Yes, fuck you, Doom 1 and 2 on Hurt Me Plenty were hard. They were supposed to be. The names were descriptive. We were just growing up with that shit, so it became our baseline. Where was I? You start the game with the pump action because no pistol, infinite ammo, or no, fuck it, it's gone. You start with
12
goddamn shells, and the game caps out at 24. Yeah, remember when I said it was hard? But do you also remember when I said it was tactical? Enemies, weapons, and Doom Guy abilities have all been tweaked, revamped, and refined to make each weapon unique and not just function, but utility. A few enemies sport weak points that a couple weapons and mods will be dedicated to breaking, which you then swap to something else to take out this group of dudes, but then you do this thing over here, and then you turn to finish that guy off, and oh no, no ammo! So instead you whip out the super shotgun, meat hook over to the enemy who you're set on fire, and then chainsaw, which now just activates with a single press of a button and auto attacks for a huge boost to ammo, health, and shield before finishing off that last guy and the zombies now crowding him. It's mind-boggling, the things that I have pulled off, and I'm still barely any good with the weapon swapping. It's fucking crazy at this point. Combat-wise, a lot has changed on massive scales. I praised the last game for crafting insane fights that you'd pull off by the skin of your teeth and feel awesome after. That's gone. There is no more skin of your teeth because, again, this game is hard and wants you to learn. You see, you can get extra lives, and these will auto-refill your health should you die. You can stack multiples, hold them for multiple levels, whatever. So despite the game's difficulty, it's still quite forgiving and offers you plenty of opportunities to skate by if you can keep a minimum skill floor to do so. But the game is only forgiving once. If you are, say, dumb as shit like yours truly, and jump into a pit that doesn't respawn you and take some health, but instead just insta-kills you and doesn't send you back to the ledge, and eats through 6 extra lives and forces you to respawn at the last checkpoint, you don't get those lives back. So when you fucked up that really hard room that you came into with really low ammo, really low health, and no armor, the game sits you down and says, look, son, I was nice, and you done goofed. Now you must learn how to actually play the game to continue, and there was no skin of my teeth victory, no. I finished that room with full health, nearly full armor, 100% ammo, because being good in this game doesn't mean beating it with style. Being good in this game means you've managed at least the skill floor required to complete it with a core competency of styles and techniques at your fingertips. It's fucking nuts. There are several new enemy types, a couple of which I don't really know what the point was, and a recycled OG Cyber Demon, which was a nice touch if I do say so myself. And that brings us to the axe-wielding elephant in the room. So let's talk about the Marauder. He's quite difficult. He's incredibly fast. He has all the tricks and traps that make him just barrels of fun to fight against. And he's not as bad as the you-know-who's made him out to be. He's also not as good as everyone else makes him out to be. You see, you have to keep a special distance and play a dance with him. Only problem is, you quickly catch on to how to cheese that dance, and bare minimum quick weapon swapping skill gets you a hit with the shotgun and the ballista every time he opens himself. Playing mouse and keyboard, you get another one of those, making it 3 shots every time he opens himself. So he's easy to cheese, and to keep him opening himself to damage and core competency makes him easier. I mean, yeah, if you fuck up a shot, he summons a dog, but is that really anything? There's a problem, though. The first time you encounter him, and once or twice afterward, the devs decided he needed to be thrown into rooms with enemies that repeatedly spawn and spam fire in cramped spaces. This makes him incredibly difficult to fight, and I really don't know how to feel about that. Without them, he's kind of a joke in comparison to Doom Guy, but just add 1 or 2 guys to come harry you and the fight becomes a migraine. I don't think I ever quite found a happy medium with him, and it's certainly not bad, just odd. I do have a major complaint or two about the gameplay, however. Watch this. That looked pretty baller, right? You know, ignoring my awful aim and, you know, how bad I am. That's not how fast Doom Guy moves. In the last review, I leaned in pretty hard on the complaint that Doom Guy is too slow, and that he really should have been as fast as the haste power-up makes him. Well, instead he gets 2 dashes now, which, for me, is kind of a cop-out at best. The footage was from a cheat that gives you infinite haste power-up, which would be super cool because the footage was on ultra violence. Only problem, as you might have noticed, is that it gives you infinite ammo as well, so I can't play the game as fast as I feel it really should be without completely fucking the difficulty with infinite ammo, and that just kinda sucks still. Boss fights are also more gimmicky than they are challenging, and finally, the Unmaker makes a return because hell to the yeah! Unfortunately, it's locked behind 6 special combats where you fight enemies way earlier than they are introduced, and yet I never died once on, and it shares ammo with the BFG, and is an incredibly shitty weapon. Yeah, it fucking sucks. It's a trash weapon that takes ammo away from a great weapon. What the fuck, guys? This is the log of Dr. Hieronymus Q. Wilson. The date no longer matters. I don't know what kind of force of nature he is or where those other 4 sharks came from, but wherever they go, he follows. And what follows is a feeding frenzy. I've never seen so many hamburgers and hot dogs get eaten like that. They even ate the children! They ate the little children hot dogs! Doom Eternal's soundtrack is a million times better. I listened to Doom 2016's official OST front to back, and the theme and BFG division are standouts not because they're really damn good, but because the soundtrack I complained about is a mess. A mess of dead air, headache-inducing wubbing, and just noise. I respect all the effort and crazy-ass work that went into it. It's genuinely amazing what went into making it. But I'm not kidding when I say I had to take ibuprofen after listening to Vega Core. Thankfully, they apparently listened, and the new soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. It's metal hell, and you're gonna shut the fuck up and love it. Unless you go with id/Bethesda's official release, which apparently they didn't let Mick work on mixing, and is so fucked up he walked out on them. Yeah, fuck you guys for that. The art direction is fucking epic. It looks like Doom. Half the time. The other half it looks like the later Halos. But when I say it looks like Doom, it looks like OG Doom. Like Carmack, Peterson, Romero, McGee, etc. are all still at the helm. They're not, but it looks like they are. Ambient monsters between arena fights are also vastly improved over the last game, driving home that final nail that really makes you think, yeah, this is Doom. With a little bit of Shadow Warrior added in. If Doom 4 looked good as hell, Doom Eternal looks better than hell. And all the fun little ambient things and little secrets they throw in, including a cute little demonic AI, just really drives home the experience for me. And as if all that wasn't enough, they brought back master levels, remixed levels for Big Boy Challenge and keeping the game fresher a little longer. Doom Eternal is the big thing right now, so it's easy for me to say that I don't recommend it and keep my Trivicavolt status. But the reality is, this game is going to wreak havoc on the casual market. By all means, it's a good game, and it's what I feel sequels are supposed to be. Bigger, better, refined, and taken to new heights. But at the same time, between platforming that never truly goes anywhere great, a Doom guy who still moves too slow, a story that they keep cramming in my face despite how little I'm supposed to care, and now their treatment of the release of the original soundtrack, I'm kind of compelled to say it's probably not going to be worth full retail price for most people. It's phenomenal outside of those aspects, and a couple of them can be ignored, and you'll enjoy it just fine. But I shouldn't have to ignore massive chunks of a game to really enjoy it. I'm not the kind of guy who will ever overlook what Bethesda just did to Mick. If you haven't bought this game yet but you're a big boy boomer, wait for it to go on sale. I'm sorry to all the wonderful people who worked their asses off making such a grand experience, but those hang-ups are pretty hardcore for me. Send your complaints to corporate. At the end of the day, it's a pretty damn good game. From a mechanical refinement, tactical crafting, and forcing the player to learn aspect, again, just like with Super Mario Odyssey, it's going to be the gold standard bare minimum for FPSs going forward. Just one that I had to cram in quite a bit of bloat to get to that $60 price tag. I'm the Necroswanson, and
Money is God.
Can't argue with the lady. Carry on.
Don't sweat it! Get it back to you!